Hi, in this video I'd like to go over percentage increase and decrease. Before we start, let's recap what a percentage is. Percentage is any number out of 100. For example, 5% means 5 over 100, which is 0.05. 50% means 50 over 100, which is 0.5. Now, that's what a percentage means, but a percentage is used to describe a part of something else. So, if I want to work out 50% of £30, what I need to do is 50 over 100 times 30, which gives me 15. If I want to work out, say, 10% of £30, that will equal 10 over 100 times 30, which is £3. Now let's look at percentage increase and decrease. Imagine we have a t-shirt worth £20. We hear that the price has been decreased by 50%. Work out what the new price is. How do we do that? The first thing we need to do is work out what 50% of £20 is. So we do that by doing 50 over 100 times 20, which gives us £10. So we know that 50% is £10, and we know that 50% has been taken off. So the next thing we need to do is 20 minus 10, which gives us 10. So the new price is £10. Right? But what if we have another situation and the price is £20, we want to increase it by 50%. How would we do that? Well, it's very similar to the above. First we work out what 50% is. As we've done above, 50% we know is already £10. Therefore, but now we know we're going to increase it by 50%, so we have to do 20 plus 10. That gives you 30. So the new price after increase is £30. This is the first way of answering this type of question, and this is probably the more intuitive way of doing it. But let me show you the other way because it's very useful. Now I'm going to show you a different way of dealing with percentage increase and decrease type of questions. Let's take the same situation as before, where we have a t-shirt. Let's just say it's worth £30 now. Okay, and if it was to increase by 50%, okay. Now another way of dealing with this question is as follows. You do 1 plus the percentage, which is the amount it's going to increase by, and multiply it by 30, and then you'll work out what the new price would be if you increase by 15%. So for example, if 50% we know is 50 over 100, which is 0.5, therefore 1 plus 0.5 will give us 1.5, so this will become 1.5 times 30, which is 45. So the new price would be £45. We can apply a similar method to percentage decrease. So imagine the t-shirt is £30, but this time we decrease it by 50%. Right. What we would do then is we do 1 minus the percentage that it's decreasing by, and then multiply that by the amount, which is 30. So we know that 50% is 0.5. 1 minus 0.5 gives us 0.5. So the answer becomes 0.5 times 30, which is 15. Therefore, decreasing by 50% gives us a new value of £15. Now, this method that I'm showing you is useful for another type of question. Let's take a look at an example of a different type of question you might get. Imagine you have a car which, after being reduced by 30%, is being sold for £7,000. How much did it cost before the discount? Let me draw a diagram to show this example. So in this example, we had the old price and the item was reduced by 30%. And that gave us the new price of 7,000, which we know about. But we want to somehow get back to work out what the original price was. This can be done very easily by using the previous technique that we showed. To reduce something by 30%, we just multiply the original by 1 minus 0.3. And the reason why it's 0.3 is because we know that 30% is equal to 30 over 100, which gives us 0.3. So 1 minus 0.3 is equal to 0.7. So some number multiplied by 0.7 gave us the discounted price of £7,000. To get back to the original price, we know that divide is the opposite of time. So all we need to do is do the opposite, divided by 0.7, and we'll get the original price. So in other words, we do 7,000 divided by 0.7. That gives us £10,000. And that's the original price. Let's take a look at a similar question, but this time looking at when the price was increased. Imagine we have a car whose price was increased by 30% and it's now being sold for £13,000. How much did it cost before the price was raised? We can solve this in the very same way we solved the last question, with a slight little change. In this situation, we had a price initially, it was raised by 30%, now we have 13,000. If it was raised by 30%, it means it must have been multiplied by 1 plus 0.3. As mentioned previously, it is 0.3 because we divide 30 by 100. So we had an original price multiplied by 1.3 to give us 13,000. To get back the original price, all we do is the opposite, which is divide by 1.3. So let's do that. 13,000 divided by 1.3 gives us 10,000. And that's how you solve the question. So the key trick with these types of questions is to divide by 1 plus or minus the percentage it was either increased or decreased by. And it's that simple. Now I'd like to talk about the concept of simple interest. This is an area of applying percentages, in particular percentage increase. So let me get straight into this example. Imagine that you got a loan from the bank. So you borrowed £5,000 from the bank, and your contract requires you to pay back the full amount in 3 years' time with a simple interest rate of 2%. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, what is interest? What do I mean by that? So let me explain. When you borrow money from a bank, the bank charges you a certain amount per year. And this charge is known as interest. And the way that the bank expresses the charge is as a percentage of the amount that you borrowed. Given that you borrowed £5,000 from the bank in this example, and it says that the interest rate is 2%, to calculate the amount that you pay the bank each year, you do 2% times 5,000, which gives 100. That means you have to pay back £100 per year to the bank. Right, so let's look at how this will work. You borrow 5,000. We know that you have to pay the money back in 3 years, and each year you would have to pay £100, we have just calculated. So that means at the end of year 1 you would pay back £100, at the end of year 2 another 100, at the end of year 3, which is the final year, you pay another 100. So in total you would have paid £300 to the bank, and that is what is known as the simple interest. Notice that I could have answered this question in a slightly quicker way if you put it all together. So given that I know that the term is 3 years and the interest rate is 2%, if I put it all together, if I just did 5,000 times 0.02 and then multiplied it by the number of years, which is 3, I would eventually end up with £300, which is the answer. And that would be a slightly quicker way of doing it.